Hello, and welcome back to what's left of the people. You should have seen what happened on break. There's me, and there's
Woo!
Ericka. Ericka, let's
Yes.
bring this maybe not full circle, but so who's behind Joe Biden?
That's the question of the day.
Well, first of all, does anyone really think? Have you spoken to anyone who's not sort of this ideological, dogmatic, rabid, Democrat who, the only good Republican is a dead one kind of thing? Have you
Mm.
seen anybody who thinks that Joe Biden is actually in charge?
I no. And I think I heard yesterday that he has spent 40 weeks on vacation
But it's
so
a nice
far.
it's a nice job if you can get it. Works for me. I like vacation.
Yep.
Just,
Yep.
but here's the thing. You saw this whole um, hubbub with Obama's biographer. And let me get the name down so I got it
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so the biographer was
Yeah.
David Garrow, who's a historian and his biographer. So, it's salacious. He's dreaming of, making love to men, dated this white woman, dream of my father was fictitious, as there, his embrace of his blackness was fictitious, totally calculated. Now, this is his biographer saying that, right?
Mm.
Okay. But here's the piece that people are missing in all of this. So in his interview, right, he says the following, and this has to do with obviously, the 42nd president?
Mm.
Regarding Obama, he says the following. He said he lives in a brick mansion in D.C. Doesn't it strike you as weird that he's an ex-president, he's comparatively young, and he's living in the center of Washington? The original
Mm.
excuse was that Sasha had to finish school. Then you could say, well, opposition to Trump, he needed to be there. But Sasha's in USC, Trump is gone, Joe Biden's president. So doesn't it strike you as odd? I mean, I have heard from more than one source, right? And DC is all about gossip, that there are regular meetings at Obama's house in Colorama, which is a neighborhood, involving top figures in the current White House with Secret Service and cars outside. I don't write about it because it's not my lane. There are over 1,000 reporters in Washington, and yet there are zero stakeouts of Obama's mansion, if only to tell us who's coming and going. So again, I have no proof, but it raises an interesting question, which is, there's gaps in the visitors log in the White House. This whole dinner in 2015, by the way, when he was Vice President Biden, not Obama, at
Yep.
Cafe Milano, Jen Psaki, the press secretary, came out and said, we checked his schedule and it wasn't on his schedule. And then later, 6 months later, they came out and said, well, it got added to his schedule later in the day. Right? There are no logs of who's visiting Biden, if anyone, in his basement when he's on vacation in Delaware. And now you have, not that the ex-president needs to have a log of his visitors, but you would think if the media, to coin a phrase, was being an honest broker, as is their job, why wouldn't someone say, I mean, Obama said, look, if you're looking for ratings, no one sells ratings. The two people who sell ratings in the news media are Obama and Trump. Everybody else is a
Mm.
distant third.
Yeah.
But
But
nobody's
they
staking it
have to
out.
protect. No, they're trying to protect his legacy. They are trying desperately. I mean, they still say, the media still says that the only scandal from his presidency was that he wore a tan suit, which is a very obvious
Fa-
lie.
Fast and
Uh,
Furious, Solyndra. I mean, you want
Benghazi.
Benghazi. Do you want me to go through all
uh,
these scandals? I can name most of
It's
them.
he is like the golden child who must be protected at all costs. And so I think that when you look at the fact that almost the entire Biden administration's cabinet and White House staff, the whole bit, is all retreads from the Obama administration,
Pretty much.
that's really all you need to know. But I think the media has really destroyed its credibility. And and so it does not shock me at all that this isn't being covered or that it's being covered up. And in no way would I be surprised to hear that President Obama is still influencing policy and the direction of the country, because
And
it's clear that octogenarian Joe Biden is not doing it.
so I'm going to go you one step further. First of all, this segment of the show, I want
Yeah.
the following title: Is the Biden presidency the third term of Barack Obama? Right? That's my
Yes.
question, right? Because that's where we're going with this, right?
Mhm.
Susan Rice, who had no domestic policy experience prior to the Biden administration, right? She was the UN ambassador to the UN. She was, foreign affairs advisor. She has a hell of a resume. She's the domestic policy advisor. Now she's resigned, right? She's left to run part of the Biden, reelection campaign. She is the direct link to Obama. That's my argument here, right? She was also, by the way, if everyone remembers, she was the one during right before the inauguration of President Trump, was in the White House when Comey disclosed this whole Russiagate nonsense. And she happened to post-meeting take down the notes. This one has to be done by the book, right?
Yep.
Which shows that this information, which they knew from the Steele dossier, was unverified, right? They used this sort of ontological technique where they leaked it to the media and then quoted the media as justification for their inquiry, right?
That's right.
So to me, this is the third term of Barack Obama. And if you look at the policies being pushed, right? And you look, Joe Biden does not have a disciplined bone in his body. There's that old video that when he ran for president in like the 1980s or 90s that, where he said, I graduated third in my class. No, you were second to last.
All the lies and the plagiarism. And
plagiarism from Neil Kinnock, who was the Labor Party leader in England. He does not have an authentic disciplined bone in his body. So what better figurehead to have if you're President Obama, right, than him? Because look, say what you want about Hillary, and I could say a lot of things about Hillary, but she is not a mouthpiece, right? She has her own agenda, and it's all about lining the coffers of the Clintons, not the not necessarily pushing an ideological agenda. At least with the Clintons, you knew it was all about money. With Biden, it's about money. With Obama, it's about ideology and transformation, and that's what you're seeing here. Because now, but tell me where I'm wrong here. No one's covering the Obama aspect of this.
I think that, again, it just goes to show how toxic and what a bunch of liars the press are, and why
we know that
have come as Americans not to trust them. Notice too that these are people of color, and so if you say anything about it or attack them, then you're a racist, and they can say, "Oh, you're just a white devil."
Who are people
misogynist,
of color? Who are
blah,
people
blah,
of
blah.
color?
Isn't Susan Rice black?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if you say anything about it, then you're a racist or you're a this or a that. And they just use the same old monikers to attack you, shut you down, and discredit you. And since Obama is the golden child, anything or anyone around him must also be protected at all costs. So, none of this surprises me. None of this is a shock to me. And if it all comes out later that in fact he is still basically running the
calling
government,
the shots, right?
I would not be surprised, not one bit. Remember that he was overheard saying, "You don't have to do this, Joe," and some of these other things that were leaked that were never really pursued or talked about. There is a concerted effort by the news media to cover up anything that could potentially expose the Biden crime family, the Obama administration, and anyone in their cabinet. Period.
Well, when you think about it, it's a perfect storm, because Bidens care about money. They don't care about anything else.
That's right.
That's proven. Obama in my opinion, doesn't care about money, he cares about ideology. So you
That's
have
right.
someone in front that you can buy, which again, I think they're ready to kick him to the curb. I've
Yep.
said it before. I'll say it again. I think Gavin Newsom is the Democratic nominee. I do not think, under any way, shape, or form, it will be Biden. I think they're waiting to see what happens with Trump. I think, and if it's somebody other than Trump, they're going to go into panic mode. Although they will vilify and demonize whoever it is, whether it's Ron DeSantis or Chris Christie or Tim Scott, who I personally like. I like them all, actually, but I
Well,
think
and
that's
that's,
what you're going to see.
I think, because if the Biden crime family gets exposed, there is, and we
They
go
are
into
exposed.
impeachment,
They are
and
exposed.
well, and this is the thing, is once they go into discovery, they're going to have a hard time keeping Obama's malfeasance covered up.
So
So I think that,
got it. Here's the other thing. Sorry to interrupt. Here's the other thing.
yeah.
So Smith, right? Files charges against Trump. Right? Trump now has subpoena power,
Mm,
which I would argue is one of the reasons that they made, whatever the guy's name is, David, whatever, the special counsel, which, to me is a whitewash, is to, that way he doesn't have to testify. But, Trump has some weapons. And again, look, we'll see how this plays itself out. I
yeah.
think America is frankly tired. I mean, as much as I think there is incredible grassroots support for President Trump, deservedly so, I think
Yeah.
America is tired of all this. I'm not sure how anybody gets behind it. But if anybody thinks that this is not the third term of Barack Obama, I think that they are living in a world that I don't understand if you're just paying attention to it. It's not that hard to connect the dots in all of this. And
Yeah.
nobody has. And by the way, just as a test. So, we got downgraded, right?
Mm.
The U.S.
Oh,
economy is
our
downgraded from AAA to AA. Who was the only other president where the U.S. economy was downgraded?
ooh,
So
Obama.
you got it. Barack Obama, only been twice done in history.
Follow the
So the
money.
faith and confidence of the U.S. government, right, under Obama, under Biden, which makes sense because it's really the same policies and it's the same leadership. The guy in the front is different.
Yep.
So, yeah. So cost of borrowing, ladies and gentlemen, just went up. And again, for the record, what nobody's talking about is our deficit, right? Let me make sure I get these numbers right. Let me make sure I got them right. So the national debt is $32.7 trillion, and the federal deficit, we're spending $1.4 trillion a year more than we take in, not counting the $2 or $3 billion that we can't find that we sent to Ukraine.
Yep. And the unfunded mandates.
And the unfunded mandates, which, by the way, would be Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, which no one wants to talk about the great entitlement debate, which is what we should be having, in my opinion. So, Ericka, I'm exhausted trying to keep up with you.
Ooh, ooh! You got me fired up today. I am fired up, fired up.
Yeah, so much so you were knocking stuff over, on break.
Literally.
I mean,
Yeah, literally.
she had such a temper tantrum on the break. I mean, it was like, whoa. That's not true. She didn't have a temper tantrum. She just was knocking stuff over because she's Ericka. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to Of the People. I am Robert Chernin. At RB Chernin is my Twitter handle. Give me your best shot. I can take it, and you can find our podcast Of the People with Robert Chernin anywhere you get your downloads. Make sure it's in your feed. Share it, comment. And the lovely Ericka Redic, where can they get you again?
At Ericka Redic on Twitter, and generally irritable everywhere else.
Folks, thanks for staying with us. We will see you next week because we're exhausted. We got to go. Take care.